This is the Bigme B6, and I'm going to review it in 5 minutes. So, TLDR, I think it's good for me. I don't think it's good for most people. So, this e-reader is a color e-reader. It has a 6-inch screen and it runs Android. So, it's like that. And it's made by a company called Bigme, as I talked about earlier, and they make some weird stuff. They only do e-readers, but they only do Android ones, and some of their stuff is a bit iffy, in my opinion. But just getting a tour of the device, you have these 5 navigation buttons. Dropping back down, you have a USB-C port with a microphone and a light over here. And then you have a SD card port right there. Nothing. Up at the top, you got speaker up here, and you got a power button, right? So very simple I/O with nothing much. I'd like to have a headphone jack, but I understand not doing that. So looking at it, it's just a nice screen right off the bat, and it's actually pretty small compared to my hand. Boom, that's my hand. So I'm able to easily fit it in hoodies, just right down there. It also comes with this guy. This guy is a sleep cover, and it is actually pretty nice. So you can just magnetize it like that, and you know, close it up. And you get all this for 160 USD. And it's actually at one point 140 USD. When I open it up, it turns back on, which is pretty cool, right? So it runs Android, and that's both its benefit and its downside, right? Let's compare it with something like this. I've used this. This is my Kobo Libra H2O, and I've used it for the past 4 years, I think. And it's a nice e-reader. So I wanted an upgrade to go to this guy, but I've noticed quite a few things. This guy had way longer battery life, and that's because it didn't run Android. Something that runs Android will die way faster. So I've noticed between a 7 and 10% power drop per day for this guy, and that's without Wi-Fi. When I turn on Wi-Fi, it honestly 10x's, where in just a few minutes I can lose like percents off my battery. So that's not awesome, but as long as I don't have to do that, you know, I'm just reading my book, then I think it's pretty chill. Look at the bottom, you get these 5 navigation buttons that I talked about earlier. Those are weird. This brings you to a book area, your reading area. This brings you to Bigme AI. This loads a file browser. I don't remember what this did. And this loads a settings app. And this brings me to the part of this device requires tinkering, right? This is not just a straightforward thing that you can just, pick up and use. Where my Kobo, I just plugged it into the computer and I transferred files on. Sure, I put some work into it. I put co-reader on, I did some work. But for a regular user, you can just transfer it on. That's it. But this guy, I had to remove the launcher because the launcher is very bad. That disabled one of the buttons. And then I had to remove Bigme AI, and that disabled 3 of the buttons. And I had to disable one of the other buttons somehow. I don't remember what app I removed. And then I had to install Play Store apps. So I had to install a new launcher. So the launcher that you see me using down here, I had to install this launcher, and I had to install the e-reading software. And then I had to install a button mapping software. I had to map the buttons up. And to unmap the buttons, I had to ADB. I had to use Android Debug Bridge and then say, actually don't listen to that, disable that app, right? And that was a lot more work than a regular user should do. And I really like that. I love tinkering. But for a user that just wants to read, that's horrible. They do not want to be interacting with stuff like that. So if you just want to read, don't get this thing. Don't get an Android e-reader. Just pick up a Kobo, pick up a Kindle, pick up these ones that have the software that is easily done. Right? But for the people that care about Android, it has 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, and it has a USB-C port that can do audio out as well. And it is actually pretty nice. It has a nice CPU. I don't remember which one it is. It's this one. And that's actually able to do quite a bit. It is in a power saving mode by default, but if you disable that, it's a quite powerful CPU. But does that really matter for an e-reader? You just want to read, right? Maybe your phone, right? Like I have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 phone. I want the new Snapdragon 8 Elite 5 or whatever it's called, right? Like I'd get that. But for an e-reader, I don't think that these specs really matter as much. And you just go for something that works. Unless you love tinkering, and that's your main thing.